see the reflection of plane wave at oblique incidence, that means at any angle. So that we'll going to see, and what are all the equations and what is the equation for different parameters we'll going to see. Okay, that is reflection of plane wave at oblique incidence. Okay, so in the earlier discussion where we have the interface and there is a medium 2 and medium 1, so where we have the wave which is normally incident on this interface. Now we will see, so if there is any wave which is at an angle some theta, if it is coming at the interface with a particular angle, then what are all the parameters and what are all the equations we need to consider. Okay, so this is the general case, most general case. At any angle we can incident the wave and we'll going to consider the field equations and also other parameters. So in order to simplify the analysis for this oblique incidence, let us take both the mediums, whatever medium 1 and medium 2, which are lossless. Okay, so there is no loss which is happening. So in order to that equations we need to simplify, so we will take it as lossless media. So lossless media means, in the sense, so alpha equal to 0, so where we have the propagation constant alpha plus j beta, so where alpha equal to 0 we will be having the propagation constant only, it is a j beta, or we can have the propagation vector, okay, the vector or wave number which is in the propagation direction, so that will be replaced as beta. Okay, so this is what the assumptions we will make, and we will going to see what actually the field equations comes into picture. Now if we want the loss media, so this is a general case where we have the lossless medium we have taken. If we have the lossy media, then wherever epsilon is there, you just replace the complex epsilon, so that it will become lossy. Okay, so now if you consider the general uniform plane wave, so with respect to the propagation and with respect to time, so we can write it as E r of r comma t, which is nothing but E naught into cos of k dot r minus omega t. So this is the propagation direction r and at time instant t. Okay, so if I want real part of this, we can express in terms of the exponential factor, which is e power j times kr minus omega t. So this is the general equation, and if I want the real part, this equation it will come. Okay, so now where here r is, because since the incident wave it is having all the components, okay, so x, y, z, if I take the Cartesian coordinates, so this will be having x and y and also z component, all the components it will be there, the vector which is the wave vector which is going at particular angle. So that's why the r vector which is having all the components, that is x ax plus y ay plus z az. So at some particular value of x y z it will be there. Okay, so this r is the position vector where so we will take the wave amplitude or wave position at particular instant of time. At that point, what are all the x, y, z values? Okay, so and also the propagation vector also it will be having the different direction, that is kx into ax. In all the direction, the propagation vector components will be there, ky into ay direction plus kz into az direction. Okay, so this is a wave number or wave propagation vector. So this is actually the propagation vector. If say for example, if the wave is traveling in some particular direction, the wave propagation it is along the wave propagating direction. Okay, so even if it is having all the components, the k vector direction will be along the wave propagation direction. Okay, so now we one more relation is there with respect to the frequency of the wave, so that we will call it as dispersion relation. So where this k, the propagation vector, it is related to the frequency which is nothing but omega square mu epsilon. So in our case, since we are taken as lossless media, so this k will be replaced it as beta. So also we can write beta square which is equal to omega square mu epsilon because of the lossless medium. Okay, so now we can see other equations from electric field, how we can arrive the magnetic field and all. So in earlier discussion we have the propagation vector, so the multiplication, the cross product of the propagation vector and electric field vector, which will give the mu epsilon h, that is magnetic field vector. So we can take or we can compute the magnetic field, so if we know the propagation vector and electric field so component. Similarly we can have k cross h. So if I know magnetic field component, by using this equation we can compute the electric field component. And also if you take the dot product with the vector, it will be 0, that is the propagation vector dot product with either magnetic field or electric field, it will give 0. Okay, so that means E and H and the propagation constant. Why this dot product is 0 means, if you take the wave which is propagating in any direction, so this E and H, okay, and the propagation all the vectors are mutually orthogonal or mutually perpendicular to each other. That is what, so this dot product, why it is 0, because this k and E are also orthogonal to each other, k and h are also orthogonal to each other. So that's why, so this component will be 0. So because, so in the uniform plane wave, all k, h and E which are mutually orthogonal to each other. Okay, so that is why this the dot product will be 0. And also E and H, whatever electric field and magnetic field which are there, so where we have the product of the position vector and the propagation vector, that should be constant. So if you take some plane, okay, so something like xy plane, yz plane, zx plane, whatever the plane you take, so where the dot product of kr is constant, in that plane the E and H will be, so it will be there. So E and H will be there. So that is what, so the meaning k dot r equal to constant. So now we will going to see what is the, so from this equation we can see how we can compute the magnetic field, that is H. So we have the propagation vector, the cross product with electric field vector, so which will give, so that is, so from this equation we can mu epsilon, okay, so mu epsilon omega mu, sorry, this is omega mu, sorry, this is omega mu h. So now here, so omega mu h it is there. So now we can compute from h, that is from this equation, what is the value of h. Okay, so that is 1 over omega mu into k, so the vector k and electric field vector. Okay, so this k, so since it is a lossless media, so that we can replace it as beta. Okay, beta by omega mu. So if I take the unit vector of this the propagation vector, it is a unit vector ak, and we have the electric field vector. So now this beta by omega, so that we can so replace it as the wave velocity, which is 1 over root of mu epsilon. So that if I replace and if I calculate that one, you will get it as 1 over eta, that is, so root of epsilon by mu you will going to get, and this is the final expression for finding out the value of the h. Okay, so from this, if I know both the propagation vector, okay, and the electric field vector, we can compute the magnetic field. Okay, so this is the general expression for E and H. So now, so after finding out the E and H, or if we having expressed this E and H in the general form, so now we will see how the propagation vectors and the other parameters which will be there in the oblique incidence, or how we can express those vectors with respect to incident, transmitted and reflected fields. Okay, so now so here one more requirement is, the boundary condition should be satisfied for both incident, reflected and as well as the transmitted wave, that is for both medium 1 and medium 2, the boundary condition should be satisfied. So and also whatever the plane which we defined for the propagation vector k, okay, So let us take, so if I take the k vector which is incident here, okay, so in the medium 1 we are incidenting the wave which is having the propagation vector ki, and so always we know that the normal vector, that unit normal vector for the interface, the boundary interface, which will be always perpendicular to it. That's why it is a normal, the vector it is normal. If I take the for medium 1 it is there in this direction, and if I take the medium 2 it is in this direction. If I take the this is the z direction where the boundary which exists at z equal to 0. Okay, whatever we consider in the normal incidence case, the similar case we have boundary at z equal to 0, and we have, so instead of the incident which is normal to this boundary, we are incidenting at a particular angle. So now that incidence angle, so which is actually between the normal vector, that unit normal vector, and the incidence propagation vector. So that will consider it as the incident angle, that is theta I. So now since the boundary medium 1, medium 2, so which are different characteristics, we will be having the reflected, the propagation vector which is having kr. Okay, and with respect to this unit normal vector and the propagation vector, we have the reflected angle theta r. And similarly we have the transmitted wave which is kt, the propagation vector, the transmitted propagation vector, and the angle between the normal and the propagation vector which will be the angle of transmission, that is theta t. So now if I take the tangential and normal components of the propagation vector, so now that we can represent like this. So this is so in the direction of z, so that is kiz, the incident wave. So that we can represent, since the k is nothing but lossless media which is expressed in terms of beta. So since we are in medium 1, we can express this as beta 1, and so you can see here, so since this is a theta I, and this component we can so express this as in terms of cos theta I. So that is beta 1 into cos theta I. Similarly the normal component, so where we have defined this normal component, so this is opposite to the incident angle, we can write this one as beta 1 sin theta I. Okay, and where we have the propagation vector ki, or we can have which is equal to beta 1 because it is in the medium 1. Okay, similarly we can express the reflected propagation vector also. So like this we can take, and we can express with respect to this theta r. Okay, so that we can write it as beta 1 cos theta r. Okay, so and here it is having the normal component which is beta 1 sin theta r, and this is the reflected propagation vector where we have the theta r we can represent so like this. So this is theta r, and we have opposite to that. Okay, so similarly we can express this is the transmitted propagation vector tangential and normal components. So where we have the ktz, so which is equal to beta 2 cos theta t, that is a tangential component, and the normal component, so beta 2 sin theta t. Okay, so that is what we will going to express, and this is a kt which is transmitted propagation vector which is nothing but beta 2. So since it is in the medium 2, we will be having a beta 2. So these are all the tangential and normal components of the propagation vectors in medium 1 and medium 2. So now we can express the electric field intensity, so that is EI, so with respect to whatever the wave which is incident, so that in terms of its magnitude value, that is EI naught into cos of the propagation vector. So generally we will take it as omega t minus beta x, beta y, beta z, something like that. So we are expressing here in terms of the propagation vector, that is k ix in the direction of x. Okay, so plus ky kiy in the direction of y. Okay, plus kiz in the direction of z. Okay, so that's how we can represent minus omega I into t. So this is the incident electric field. Similarly we can express the reflected, so since it is in the same medium, the reflected wave, so we can represent ER naught Okay, so into cos of krx, so into x plus kry into y plus krz into z minus omega r into t. Okay, so this is what the reflected in electric field, so in the same medium, and we can express the transmitted wave also, which we given by et naught into cos of ktx into x plus kty into y plus ktz into z minus omega t into t. So this is what the transmitted, so electric field intensity, and where this whatever the krx, kry, krz, so which is with respect to reflected, and this is with respect to incident, and this is with respect to kt. So where we have ki, kr and kt, so both these are all propagation vector in incident and reflected and transmitted field. So where we have all the tangential and normal components for particular propagation vector, incident, reflected and transmitted, they will be having both normal and tangential component. We can, that is what we have resolved here, the both tangential and normal components. Okay, so the condition that, so E must be continuous across the boundary, that is we have seen in the boundary conditions also, wherever the boundary exists where z equal to 0, so E must be continuous. So the tangential component of E must be continuous at the boundary, must be continuous at the boundary. So this condition need to be satisfied. So the E must be, the tangential components of the E must be continuous at the boundary. So now if you want to satisfy this condition for all the values of like x, y, z component, so we need to consider some conditions. What are all those conditions? The first condition, in order to satisfy this one, so we need to get omega I should be equal to omega r, and that should be equal to omega t. That is, the frequency should not change in the both the medium, it should be same. That is, for incident wave, reflected wave and the transmitted wave, frequency should be remain constants, then only we can get this condition, that is tangential component will be continuous at the boundary. And the second condition is, whatever the x component, that is kix and that is krx and ktx, that is all the x component of incident, reflected and transmitted field should be equal to x component of the propagation vector. And similarly, so that is y component, that is kiy, kry and kty, so that should be equal to so ky. Okay, so this condition should be met. So in order to satisfy, the electric field should be continuous at the boundary. So in order to satisfy that condition, these conditions should be met. Okay, so this implies that, as I said, the frequency should be unchanged, or the frequency should be same for medium 1 and medium 2. And condition 2 and 3 require that, so the tangential component, so because whatever the vectors which are there, tangential components ktz, kt, that is krz and kiz, so those tangential component of propagation vector, that also should be continuous. So if it is continuous, then it should be, so all should be equivalent to one particular component, that is kx. Okay, so this actually, the condition of this one, we will call it as phase matching conditions. Okay, so this condition we will call it as phase matching conditions. That means, so this whatever the ki, kr, kt, so those should be lie in the same plane where the propagation happens. Okay, so that means, so you can see here, so if I consider this as x and this as z, so now if I take this plane, okay, so whatever we are taking x, z plane, so all ki, kr and kt, the transmitted propagation vector, lie in the same xz plane. So that is what the meaning, all should be lie in the same plane, that is xz plane. If you consider in another plane, so that should be in the similar type of other plane only, so this condition should be satisfied. That means all the reflected, transmitted and incident waves which should be lie in the same plane. So that is what the phase matching condition says. So now from this, so what we can arrive, so from the equations, that is whatever we define the earlier equations, that is the propagation vector k which we have defined, that is omega square mu epsilon, or we can write the beta square which is omega square mu epsilon. So from this equation, so what we can write, so since all are lying in the same plane, the propagation vector in the incident, so into sin theta I, that should be equal to kr into sin theta r. So this is what the condition will going to get if these conditions are satisfied. Okay, and similarly we have ki sin theta I, that should be equal to kt sin theta t. Okay, if these conditions are matching and the field condition, that is electric field, it is continuous at the boundary. Okay, so then we'll going to get, so we'll get this condition. Okay, so where theta I, theta r and theta t are the incident, transmit and reflected angles. Okay, so since as I said it is a lossless media, k will be equal to beta. Okay, and we can get it as, that is ki which is equal to kr, which is nothing but in the beta 1, that is since it is in the medium 1, ki and kr should be in the medium 1, so we'll be getting, so which is nothing but beta 1, so which we can represent it as, since omega is same for both the medium, so we can have mu 1 epsilon 1. And similarly for the second, so whatever the transmitted the propagating vector kt, which is equal to, it is in the medium 2, so that's why it is beta 2, and we can represent that as mu 2 epsilon 2. Okay, so now if I take this condition, so if you take this equation and if you equate it, so since k and kr which are equal, so we'll going to get theta I equal to theta r. Now if I take this one as some equation 1 and equation 2, and from equation 1, okay, so since ki equal to kr, so we'll going to get the condition which is theta I equal to theta r. That means, so the angle of incidence which is equal to angle of reflection. Okay, and similarly we can write, so if I take this equation, that is ki from equation 2, what we will going to get, ki by kt. Okay, so which is equal to, so ki, so if you take kt this side, we will going to get sin theta t by sin theta I. Okay, so this is what we will going to get, or we can write, so this ki in terms of beta 1 we can write, so that is beta 1 divided by beta 2, or we can write, so this is omega into root mu 1 epsilon 1 divided by omega into, so because this is a transmitted one, and okay, so this is ki and this is kt, so okay, we can write this kt which is equal to mu 2 into epsilon 2. So now where we will going to get, so that is ki by kt which is equal to root of mu 1 epsilon 1 divided by root of mu 2 epsilon 2, which is equal to sin theta t divided by sin theta I. Okay, so that is what we will going to get. So now from this, so we can write that sin theta t, so divided by sin theta I, also we can express this in terms of the velocity. Okay, so where we have, so the wave velocity which is equal to 1 over root mu into epsilon. So if I put u1 in the medium 1, it is mu 1 epsilon 1. So that's why, so 1 over this one we can write it as u1. So because 1 over mu 1 epsilon 1 which is equal to u1, so this will be equal to 1 over u1. So and similarly this one we can write it as u2, where u1 and u2 are the wave velocity in particular medium, that is medium 2 and medium 1. Okay, and also u we can express in terms of omega and propagation vector, so that is omega by k. Okay, so this is the with respect to the wave velocities. Okay, that is u2 and u1, and with respect to the transmitted angle and the incident angle. Now we have the well known equation from the Snell's law. Okay, now from Snell's law, okay, we have the refractive index of the medium one. This is n1, not eta 1, don't confuse with the eta 1. Okay, so this is the refractive index, so where n is refractive index. Okay, so from the Snell's law, n1 into sin theta I, which is equal to n2 into sin theta t. So that is what the Snell's law says that. Now from in our discussion, the refractive index of medium 1 we can represent in terms of, so in the medium parameters, which is mu1 epsilon 1. So or we can write it as c by u1. Okay. Similarly, refractive index of medium 2 we can write it as c into mu2 epsilon 2, which is equal to c by u2. Okay. So these are all the refractive index of medium 1 and medium 2. Okay. So this is actually, so we can represent in terms of our medium characteristics, so mu1 and epsilon 1. So where we can replace this mu1 and epsilon 1 in terms of the refractive index of the mediums also. Okay, so now this is what the oblique incidence of the medium, where we consider so the different parameters. So based on this general preliminary equations, so this is a general case. Okay, so even we have two more conditions based on this angle of incidence, which is at oblique incidence. Okay, so we have again so two conditions, that is two cases. So what are the two cases? When E is parallel, okay, parallel to the whatever plane of incidence, okay, and also E is perpendicular to the plane of incidence. Okay, so E is parallel to the plane of incidence, where we can call it as E parallel, and similarly E is perpendicular to the plane of incidence. Again, from this oblique incidence we have again two general cases, that is parallel polarization we will call it as, because the polarization it is depends on the orientation of the electric field. Now if the electric field is parallel to the plane of incidence, so then what we will call this one as parallel polarization. Okay, parallel polarization, and where E is perpendicular to the plane of incidence we will call it as perpendicular polarization. Okay, so that is what parallel polarization and perpendicular polarization. But in your case, so that is in your syllabus, only the parallel polarization we will going to discuss. That is, so where we have the incident plane wave like this. Okay, so the wave which is traveling like this. So here the wave, whatever we consider the E, which is actually parallel to the plane. So if I consider this as a plane, the plane of incidence, it is always the parallel to the plane. So that means, so if you take the medium like this, so this is the interface, this is the boundary, so this is a boundary. So now if I take this is a plane of incidence. Okay, so this whatever the marking one, so this is a plane of incidence. Now if I incident the wave like this, the wave is propagating like this. Now this electric field direction, so this should be always parallel, so it should be always parallel to this plane. So that is what parallel polarization. Perpendicular means if this is a plane, so the electric field should be perpendicular to this, that is normal to this. Okay, so that is perpendicular polarization. So now if I take the general whatever the parallel polarization, so then that is the special case of whatever we discussed, the oblique incidence, where so the plane of electric field should be parallel to the plane of incidence. So that we will going to see how this parallel polarization happens and how we can so arrive the equations. So now if you can see, so if I write the how the field components in the parallel polarization. Okay, so we will discuss the parallel polarization. So now if we take the parallel polarization, as I said, so E should be parallel to the plane of incidence, and whatever the propagation vector we are taking here, we are taking the propagation vector, incident propagation vector with the incident field theta I. So now where here, so the electric field whatever I am taking, so that should be parallel to that plane. So now it is parallel to this plane. So wherever you take, it is parallel to the plane of incidence. And H which is going perpendicular to this, because all should be mutually orthogonal, H should be perpendicular to the plane now. Okay. Now similarly, so if I get the refracted propagation vector Kr, so this is in the direction of, so in this direction, so then the electric field should be always, again it should be parallel to that plane, that is Er, and the H will be perpendicular to this, because it is so reflecting, so this is going into that, and this one it is coming out of the page. So the H is coming out of the page in the incident plane, and in the reflected plane it is going into the page. Okay. And similarly we have the transmitted one, so where we have angle of transmission, and again we have the plane which is the electric field which is parallel to the transmitted plane, that is this is the KT, and again we have so the H which is coming out of the page, because whatever the incident scenario is there, that will applicable to the transmission scenario, the wave which is H which is same as the direction of the incident, and transmitted direction of the magnetic field is also same as incident. Only whenever it is reflected, so the direction of propagation of H will be changed. Okay. So now this is medium 2 and this is medium 1, where we have again mu 1 epsilon 1 and mu 2 epsilon 2. We are considering it as a again lossless case. So now we can see, so from this we have seen the plane of incident and transmitted and also reflected wave of the electric field component, it should be parallel to that plane. So that's why we will call it as this is parallel polarization. Okay. So now we can see what are the so equations we can write for this. So that is, so incident field, reflected field and the transmitted field. EIS we can represent it as EI naught into cos theta I, so in the direction of AX, minus sin theta I in the direction of AZ. So now if I take this as a Z direction and this as X direction, I am taking the, so the incident angle in terms of X as well as Z. So this is the X direction. Okay. So where we get sin theta I, and this is the Z direction where we will get the cos theta I. So that cos theta I, so okay, so this is okay, sin theta I in the Z direction means, so this is Z direction and this is X direction. So the cos theta in the direction of AX and sin theta in the direction of Z. Okay. So that's how here we are taking, and into e power minus j beta 1, so into X sin theta I, okay, so minus, sorry, plus Z cos theta I. So this is what the incident field, so we can represent, and similarly the magnetic field we can represent it as, so anyhow EI naught divided by eta, so in the medium 1 we will going to get the HI into, so e power minus j beta 1, so that is in the medium 1, so this into X sin theta I plus Z cos theta I. Okay. So this is what the magnetic field, and similarly we have the reflected phasor, so ERS which is equal to ER naught into cos theta R in the direction of AX, okay, plus sin theta R in the direction of AZ, okay. So into e power minus j beta 1 into X sin theta R minus Z cos theta R. So this is what we are going to express for the reflected phasor, and magnetic field, so we can represent minus ER naught divided by eta 1 into e power minus j beta 1 into x sin theta r minus z cos theta r. Okay, so we have already seen beta 1, where beta 1 which is equal to omega into mu 1 epsilon 1, and beta 2 which is equal to omega into mu 2 epsilon 2. Okay, so now we can see here, so in order to get this each field component, so first we need to see what is the direction of propagation vector, and we have to resolve these two components. Okay, so that is in the x direction and that is in the minus z direction. So that is x and z directions. We have to take the components of this, the propagation vector, either it is in the incident plane or reflected plane, or it is in the transmitted plane. Okay, so now we have taken that. So once the k is known, okay, so once the propagation vector is known, so then we can define that the electric field, so or the propagation. So as I said, so the k dot es, so that will be equal to 0, because propagation vector and electric field always mutually orthogonal. So that's why we are going to get even del dot es which is equal to 0. So then we can find out what is the Hs. So that is from the Es. So we know that k cross Es divided by omega mu. So from this equation we are going to get the Hs value. So once we know the propagation vector or so the electric field component, so we can compute the magnetic field component. So now we can see the transmitted, so the field, so ETS we can represent it as ET naught, so into cos theta t, so in the direction of AX, minus sin theta t in the direction of AZ, into e power minus j beta 2. So this is in the medium 2. So into x sin theta t plus z cos theta t. So this is what the transmitted electric field component, and the magnetic field component we can write it as eta naught divided by that is Et naught divided by eta 2 into e power minus j beta 2. Okay, so into x sin theta t plus z cos theta t in the direction. So this is what the magnetic field component. So as I said, where beta 2 which is equal to mu 2 into epsilon 2, so that we can replace here. So with respect to beta and eta 2 we can find out from that parameters. Okay, so now here, so the assumptions which we are made, so sometimes whatever happens, so this plane of incidence which is since it is an oblique incidence, so always it may not be true in that is practical cases. Okay, so it may be slightly vary. So the whatever the angle of incidence based on theta I and theta r and theta t, so the assumptions which may be slightly changed in the practical scenario. So this is by assuming the lossless medium, and also so the plane of polarization is parallel to the plane of incidence. So we arrive this equations. So now if you take the, so as I said, if I take the equations, that is theta I equal to theta r, so which is, so because of the earlier equations which we have derived, so where the k propagation vector in the medium 1 which is ki which is equal to kr, so if I assume that, so then we are going to arrive this theta I equal to theta r. Okay, so now if I take this theta I equal to theta r, then the tangential component of E and H, so those are continuous at the boundary. So if I arrive this condition, so then that condition will be satisfied. That is, the tangential components of both E and H are so continuous at the boundary. Okay, so if I consider that one, so then we are going to get EI naught plus ER naught. So if I take the magnitudes of the electric field component, so that will be EI naught plus ER naught into cos theta I should be equal to ET naught into cos theta t. So that is the transmitted so angle. So then we are going to get so another equation from medium 2, or we can write 1 over eta 1 into EI naught minus ER naught, so which is equal to 1 over eta 2 into ET naught. So this expressing this ER naught and ET naught in terms of EI naught. So again we obtain the reflection coefficient, that we already know that reflection coefficient in terms of the medium 1 and medium 2, that is the reflection coefficient in medium 1 which is ER naught by EI naught. So that is what the reflection coefficient, ER naught by EI naught, and the transmission coefficient which is ET naught by EI naught. So that we know. So now we can find out the coefficient for the reflection coefficient or the parallel polarization, that we'll call it as gamma parallel. Okay, so that is equal to ER naught divided by EI naught. So from this equation if I take, so ER naught by EI naught expression, so you will going to get eta 2 into cos theta t minus eta 1 into cos theta I divided by eta 2 into cos theta t plus eta 1 into cos theta I. So this is the parallel, the reflection coefficient for parallel polarization. Okay, so that angle of incident theta, so that is theta I or the transmitted angle theta t, if it is 0, that means so this goes to 0 and this also goes to 0. So that is exactly normal. So where theta I and theta t, where it will go to the angle 0, then this case will be again become normal incidence instead of the oblique incidence. So that in that case what will happen? So it will get earlier equation which is eta 2 minus eta 1 divided by eta 2 plus eta 1. Okay, so where that angle, so theta I and theta t and theta r will become 0. Okay, so now similarly we can write the transmission coefficient for that is parallel polarization, that is eta ET naught divided by EI naught, which is equal to, so 2 times eta 2 into cos theta I divided by eta 2 cos theta t plus eta 1 cos theta I. So again, so here theta I, theta t and if all these angles are become 0, then we will arrive again for the case of normal incident, that is transmission coefficient which is 2 eta naught divided by eta 2 plus eta 1. Okay, so now all these equations which will be call it as the Fresnel equation, whatever the gamma parallel and transmission parallel, so that is we'll call it as Fresnel's equations. So where he has derived the parallel the equations for parallel polarization, so that's why these equations are called as Fresnel's equation. And again we have wherever these angles become 0, it will convert these that into the case of normal incidence. So now if you take the Snell's law, so that is if I take the cos theta t, so we can represent in terms of sin theta t, which is nothing but 1 minus sin square theta t, and also we can represent this, so that whatever sin square theta t in terms of the angle of incidence, which is equal to 1 minus, so that is u2 by u1 in terms of the phase velocity, and we will get sin square theta I, and this is whole square. So this sin square theta t in terms of wave velocity, so that we can write. So here we have derived that equation. So earlier where we have here sin theta t by sin theta I, which is equal to in terms of phase velocities. So that theta t we can represent it as u2 by u1 into sin theta I. So that is what we have replaced here, and we will get the cos theta t in terms of sin theta I. So now if I replace that one, we can write it as, so the gamma reflection coefficient, we can get that equation 1 plus gamma parallel, which is equal to the transmission coefficient, that is tau parallel into cos theta t divided by cos theta I. Okay, so that is what, so the relation between transmission and reflection coefficient for the parallel polarization. Okay, so now this from this equation, so as I said, so the gamma parallel will be equal to 0 whenever there is a, so since there is a numerator, there is a difference. So here you can observe for gamma parallel, so since there is a difference of these two terms, what we are going to get, so if we want to get gamma parallel, so just if you take ER, the reflected wave amplitude, which is 0, then we will be getting gamma parallel which is equal to 0. So in which condition this gamma parallel will become equal to 0, or we can take the reflected component which will become 0. So at particular value of the incidence, that is angle of incidence, if I set the incidence angle theta I for a particular value of the angle, so then that gamma parallel will become 0. So where this gamma parallel becomes 0 at particular angle, so that we will call it as the Brewster angle. So theta B, so that theta B, where theta I which is equal to theta B, so that we will call it as Brewster angles. So where we will get the gamma parallel which is equal to 0. So that angle which is called as Brewster angle. And this, so generally we will call this Brewster angle, which is also called as polarization angle. The Brewster angle, which is also called as polarization angle. So because for arbitrary polarized incident wave, so the reflection will become 0, or if it is perpendicular the component, it will come with the plane of incident. Instead of the parallel, so wherever we get the medium here, so instead of it is we are getting parallel, so instead of getting the E parallel, so we will get the perpendicular. So that is what ER equal to 0 and the gamma will go to 0. So that is what the Brewster angle. So where the theta I which is equal to, so 0. That is theta I equal to for particular value of theta B, where gamma parallel will become 0. Okay. So that is what the Brewster angle. And so if you take the refractive indices, that is, so n2 cos theta t, so which is equal to n1 cos theta B parallel, because wherever incident angle, if I replace with the Brewster angle, so then from this delta we will going to get this condition, or n2 square into 1 minus sin square theta t, which is equal to n1 square into 1 minus sin square theta B parallel. Or we can find out what is the Brewster angle, that is sin square theta B parallel, which is equal to 1 minus, so again if I replace this refractive index in terms of the medium parameters, so we will going to get mu 2 epsilon 1 divided by mu 1 epsilon 2, so this divided by 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 2 whole square. So this, from this equation we will going to get this equation. And if you take the mu 1 which is equal to mu 2 and which is equal to generally mu naught, because for the non-magnetic medium mu will be equal to always mu naught, and also if you have the dielectric medium which is lossless, so then we'll be getting k equal to beta. For those conditions, so the Brewster angle we will going to get, that is sin square theta B parallel, which is equal to 1 over, since mu equal to, so mu naught, so this will get cancel each other, and we will going to get 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 2 in the numerator, and in the denominator we can expand this as a square minus b square. We will going to get 1 minus epsilon 1 by epsilon 2 and 1 plus epsilon by epsilon 2. So this term will get cancel each other. We will going to get sin square theta B parallel, which is equal to 1 over 1 plus epsilon 1 by epsilon 2. Or we can, so again we can able to find out what is the value of cos theta B in terms of this. If you take 1 minus sin square theta B square root of, we will going to get cos theta B, and if I take the ratio of cos theta B and sin theta B, so we will going to get the expression tan theta B in terms of only epsilon values, that is epsilon 2 by epsilon 1, or we can write the in terms of refractive index, which is n2 by n1. So this is how the Brewster angle can be easily find out by different refractive index of the mediums or the epsilon value of the medium. Okay, so this is what the parallel polarization. So we'll stop here and we'll continue. So this is what the parallel polarization. If you have any queries, you can ask. Anybody, any queries, any doubt? Okay, so we'll